Hello and welcome to the Weaver Virtual Studio, where we're going to be getting into game number 3 in this best of 5 grand finals, the ESL Germany 2020 tournament. It is Liquid versus NAVI, and NAVI were backs against the wall. If there was any game they needed to take, it was most definitely this one. And to join me on this journey of adventure is a man known for his quick wit, his booming voice, and his lovely, lovely beard, which smells gently of warm cinnamon. But there is one hero, of course, who we must focus on when we're looking at this game, and it is VTune playing on this creepy little lifestealer. This guy had an excellent performance. As you can see here from his performance rating, it is a 79%. Now, this is a metric generated versus 13 different metrics combined into one and displaced versus the average performances for this hero on this patch, which means he did pretty damn good. But why did he get to this point? Well, it actually comes down to the net worth difference in the laning phase, where he managed to get himself over 2,000 gold above the Batrider at 10 minutes. Well, I mean, look, here we see the relative versus absolute values on the graph over time, and you can see absolutely skyrockets, whilst Kuiper, unfortunately, falls off a cliff. He's not really a factor in this game anymore. Yeah,
this is all down to some early game maneuvers by NAVI, as they start off the game with the lifestealer in the mid lane, expecting Kuiper's Batrider to be there, but a quick shift as he walks down south to get the matchup that he wants leaves Liquid in a kind of an awkward position where Batrider has to be the one to TP first and react. As we see here, they do have to get this chain reaction of events going on, as the lifestealer is left to react to this movement, and of course Nature's Prophet, who can naturally TP around the lanes, goes straight back down to bottom lane with no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really try and match a team's lane movements when they've got the Nature's Prophet due to that teleportation ability, and because of this advantage, it was so hard for NAVI to get the matchups they wanted in these lanes.
It absolutely was, and the knock-on effect of this is that the lifestealer was able to do some very early movements, gaining net worth very rapidly, 7.5 minutes in, taking that tier 1 tower in the mid lane, then shifting up towards top lane only a minute later, 8.5 minutes, getting tier 1 top. And this shifts the Spectre away from that top lane, away from the Dire jungle, forces her to play into the mid lane and the Dire triangle, as well as the rest of Liquid moving as well.
Yeah, it's a relatively safe place to farm, but Liquid wanted to take the pressure off the Spectre, and they do this by trying to make some plays down at the bottom lane, but unfortunately, because their lanes have gone so crookedly, it is really hard for them to find success in these little engagements, and we do actually end up seeing Liquid losing a lot for this aggressive movement, but the whole end game here is to try and make space for the Spectre. The end game is to try and let the Spectre play off map and get herself some farm. So whilst they do trade a couple of heroes, it could be considered worth it if this lovely lady can get herself a couple of items.
Yeah, and Mickey realizing that the early game not going particularly well, and the fact that they're kind of in a single core lineup where Batrider and DP don't offer a whole lot in towards the late game, forced to go into this kind of blade mail build, needs space and time to farm.
Exactly, and well, we're going to have a look at the visibility chart here from the Weaver app, and what we can see here is actually very interesting, because what we're looking at is when heroes are visible, which is highlighted in grey, and when heroes are not, which is the black areas off the map. And we're looking exclusively at Spectre down at the bottom here, and you can see these deaths are always preceded by an area of darkness, which means she is trying to play off map, she is trying to play in the jungle, but it's just not working out. They keep finding her, they keep killing her, and she is having a really tough time at this point.
Yeah, it happened over and over again. NAVI very good at using smoke maneuvers and going deep into that Dire jungle, hunting into the triangle, hunting into the areas of the map that they know Spectre should be farming, and it is very kind of slow and methodical from them. They move up a ramp, they scout it out, see if the smoke pops, and here, fortunately for them, they do find the Spectre. No one to help her whatsoever as she's speared back into the ulti of Mars and cleared up by this big rotation of NAVI, and it continued that way. Always want to fly this time, finding the opening with a quick glimpse back, a TP forward, and the global map maneuverability of NAVI becoming apparent as Spectre really couldn't play her style.
Yeah, you see the IO sliding in on the side here, trying to help her out, but unfortunately, there's not much to be done. And it's a big problem for Spectre if you're pressuring her and you're making the plays onto her. She's a hero which wants to play reactively. That's what Haunt does. It allows you to jump onto the backlines and respond to your aggression onto your teammates. But this just can't happen when they're jumping upon you.
Absolutely, counteracting her playstyle, but also itemizing very well up against her. Especially Roger future of NAVI, who, with a great amount of net worth, top 5% full support Phoenix this patch with almost 10,000 net worth at 28 minutes, got himself a Spirit Vessel and a Shivers Guard, counteracting that heal from Io that you mentioned, which is meant to bolster the Spectre and keep her alive in team fights. And this Phoenix really did do very well.
Yeah, not just the Phoenix as well. I mean, V-Tune, as we mentioned earlier, on that Life Stealer, he was able to grab himself that Eye of Skadi, which again, further just compounding this issue. There was just no heals coming out for the Spectre, and here we see a very special play.
Absolutely, without the two core heroes, no Prophet, no Life Stealer, no cares. They go in with their offlaner and two supports, and thanks to Roger's itemization, they're able to displace the Spectre with spears and glimpses and make sure that there's no heals coming to keep her alive, clear up the Spectre, and again, she was that last resort, the last hope of Team Liquid in that late game carry, which no longer exists, and she's dispatched with quickly.
I mean, that's a very special play in Dota as well, to see the supports with their two cores dead, the two highest net worth heroes dead, make that kind of play onto the enemy hard carrier, the tanky hero like Spectre, and actually coming out with a kill. Very impressive from NAVI, showing that they've got something to bring to this one. But that's all we have time for here at the Weaver Studio for game number 3. It was a NAVI victory, and if you're interested in finding out about any of the stuff we're showing you here in the studio or on the app, then follow Weaver at Weaver TV on Twitter. But from us here, it's going to be a goodbye.